David Menzies for Rebel News here in Windsor, Ontario. And folks, I have returned to the controversial Nextstar EV battery plant. This battery plant is controversial for three reasons. The first being the amount of taxpayer money that has gone into this plant. We're talking $15 billion in federal and provincial taxpayer coin funding what might be, well, a stillborn white elephant by the time this plant is open because of, well, lack of demand for EV vehicles the world over. Secondly, Stellantis, the parent company of Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, Jeep, etc., they have announced that they're no longer hell-bent on EV production. Why? Well, have you seen the sales figures for the Dodge Charger EV? Actually, have you seen a single Dodge Charger EV on the road? That tells you something. And the third reason this is controversial is the fact that there are 1,600 South Korean workers employed here. Think about this, folks. Whatever side you're on in terms of the EV investment issue with taxpayer money, you could always argue, well, at least Canadians are getting good, unionized, high-paying jobs. Except, clearly, they're not. For some reason, there are 1,600 South Koreans working here. I know from sources working at the plant, that's Canadians, that these aren't specialized tradesmen, that all of these jobs can be done by people who live in the Windsor area. So who the hell signed this deal in the first place? Now, we came here last year and we tried to get answers. We saw some South Koreans exiting the plant and we went to talk to them. My guess is they either didn't speak English or they were given a gag order not to talk to the media. Check it out.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Hi. Are you from South Korea by any chance? Do you work at the plant?
Yeah, so my reckoning is they were ordered, in fact, keep your mouth shut when pesky independent media outlets come a-calling. Now, this is even more egregious by the fact, folks, that Windsor's unemployment, it is at a historic high, 11.2% unemployment. And yet, with our taxpayer dollars, we're paying for foreign nationals to get these great paying jobs. It's crazy. So folks, in case you're wondering why am I back here regurgitating the points of our original report, well, there is a news peg to my update. Namely, several days ago, south of the border, ICE agents raided a Hyundai plant in Georgia, also employing South Korean laborers, South Koreans who weren't legally allowed to be working in the U.S. That's unbelievable. So the question arises, do we have the same situation here? How many of these 1,600 South Koreans at the Nextstar battery plant are actually allowed to be working in the Dominion of Canada? Well, folks, I did reach out to Stellantis Media Relations. I did reach out to the Ministry of Labor. And par for the course, radio silence. Yeah, they'll spend our money, but they won't be accountable to independent media voices as to why they're spending this money, what the return on investment is, and even if these foreign nationals are legally allowed to be here. That is absolutely egregious.
Scabs doing our work. It's our work. Yeah, you guys are us big time.
It is not a harmonious workplace here. Suffice to say, the domestic workers and the South Korean workers are not getting along. There's been instances of verbal abuse, the South Korean workers being called scabs. There's even been some physical altercations, according to my source. And lo and behold, I don't think we noticed this sign last time we were here, but look at it. It says, "Zero tolerance. Any personnel who who violate the project's violence and harassment policy or are found vandalizing any company or personal property, including graffiti, will be removed from the Nextstar Energy project. These are considered zero tolerance offenses. Think before you act. Well, folks, when have you ever seen such a sign outside any workplace? That seems to make the case that all is not that harmonious here, given the domestic and foreign workers, and again, foreign workers being paid for by your hard-earned money. We're going to keep our eye on this situation, because if you ask me, given the lack of EV demand, given that Stellantis is no longer gung-ho on EV vehicles, this, I think, is a disaster in the making. And if it was a private company funding this, that's fine. You roll the dice, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it's our money. It is the beleaguered Canadian taxpayer funding this plant and funding foreign nationals who might not even be allowed to work here. Outrageous. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, I know you love it when Rebel News tells you the other side of the story, but here's the thing, we need your help. Unlike the trained seals in the mainstream media, we don't get any carny cash, nor would we accept it if ever offered. So can you do me a favor? Can you go to rebelfieldreports.com? That's rebelfieldreports.com, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.